SCY JIMM is a rapper who's been popping off ever since he signed to QC. But now he's wrapped up in a wild situation with friends getting killed, getting shot, and a shocking conspiracy about his own manager. SCY JIMM came up in Bono, Florida. It's a small town with less than 3,000 people living there, but JIMM still got into a lot of trouble. Starting at just 12 years old, when he got put on probation for breaking into houses. JIMM was turned tough from the jump, and he got kicked out of school too because he kept stealing from teachers. Back in the day, he dreams of going to the NBA.
But it didn't take long for him to realize he wouldn't make it. Even though he was in the streets from a young age, JIMM tried working a legit job. He worked at a Taco Bell for 4 months, but then the cops got involved and he lost the job. In his off-the-porch interview, JIMM said that he was working the drive-thru window and tried to hand the customers some change after they paid. But it was really windy that day, so the money flew out of his hand and landed next to the customer's car. They could have just opened their door and grabbed the cash, but instead they started yelling at JIMM to come outside and pick it up for him. He wasn't feeling the disrespect though, and the situation ended up escalating.
Why they couldn't pick it up? Like, they too lazy to do it? They could have just picked it up, like.
Until the customer
called the cops and his manager had to fire him. He
was already rapping
just for fun, but JIMM didn't take it seriously as a career back then. So after the Taco Bell situation didn't work out, he went right back to the streets. It didn't take long for everything to catch up with him though, and in 2019, he got booked for trying to break into another house. YouTuber 1090 Jake aired SCY JIMM out for getting caught with his brother and his homie while they were driving around in a stolen whip looking for a house to rob. When the cops found him behind the house, JIMM gave up and got cuffed while his homie took off running. At first it looked like JIMM was gonna hold it down and not say anything, but later he ended up telling the cops the whole robbery plan and even gave up the nickname of the dude who ran away. It's not clear what he actually got convicted of, but JIMM ended up in jail for a while and knew that he had to switch up how he moved. So when he came back home the next time, he hopped straight in the booth and started dropping tracks. He wasn't buzzing much at first, but after a few videos went viral on YouTube, someone reached out and offered JIMM a deal. The person said they were a massive artist and wanted to sign him too. Apparently they were offering a few hundred racks, but first they said JIMM had to send 4K over to pay for some fees. It's easy to spot the scam from a mile away if you're not in a situation, but JIMM was just excited to get a deal, so he ended up sending them the $4 grand, and that's when the number ghosted him. JIMM got finessed, but he didn't let it slow him down, and he kept grinding with the music. Last year, he started popping off and racked up hundreds of thousands of streams with tracks like Ballin' and Hard Knocks, then built up even more momentum with his debut project, Rookie of the Year. A lot of hot rappers have been coming out of Florida lately, and JIMM was looking like the next one up. He got scammed by a fake label before, but back in February, P from Quality Control Records gave JIMM a real contract and some new ice to go with it. JIMM had made it from a small town in the middle of nowhere to sign with one of the biggest labels in the game, but the good times didn't last long. Just a few months later, one of his homies ended up dead after a wild fight. On June 4th, there was a party going down in Daytona Beach. According to reports, only 20 people were supposed to show up, but then the situation got wild when a bunch of other people heard about free drinks and food at the party and came through to turn up. That night, JIMM's homie Jaron Smith was celebrating getting the record deal. JIMM was there to show love, but unfortunately the celebration took a tragic turn. According to witnesses, Smith was outside burning money to celebrate the deal, and that's when a dude named Robert Blue walked up and that's what he was doing. Robert Blue, aka Blue Cheese, is JIMM's manager. Him and Smith knew each other, but for some reason, Blue Cheese decided to start an issue with him. Smith allegedly wanted to throw hands, but Cheese just upped his strap instead. Smith allegedly pepper sprayed him twice and punched him in the face, and that's when Cheese dumped his whole clip and killed him.
Wow.
Cheese hopped in his whip and smashed off, but the cops caught up to him and booked him on second-degree murder the next day. According to some reports, this isn't the first time Cheese has been booked for a shooting. He allegedly caught another charge in 2018 and one more in 2019 for shooting at his stepmom's boyfriend. And besides letting shots,
He's bugging out, bro. He's a crash out, bro. I ain't gonna lie, he's dead to crash out.
Cheese has been booked for assault, resisting arrest, and drug charges in the past too. On the same day Cheese got arrested for killing Jaron Smith, SCY JIMM got booked for resisting arrest. It's not clear exactly what went down, but he ended up bonding out the next day. It had already been a crazy couple of days, and nobody expected what happened next. Just a few hours after he bonded out of jail, JIMM was driving around with a blogger called 954 Fast Ditch TV. They were pulling up to an apartment building in the middle of the day, and that's when somebody came through and started letting off shots. Around 20 bullets went flying in their direction, and both of them got hit while the shooters drove off. The cops found JIMM and the other dude inside one of the apartments bleeding all over the floor, and early reports said JIMM didn't make it out alive. Luckily, that wasn't the case though, and JIMM actually used the situation to help his career out. First, he told his fans that everything ain't perfect, but it's a blessing to be here. Then he dropped 2 new tracks at the same time. The first video was for the track In Too Deep, which had footage of JIMM in the hospital recovering from the shooting. And in the video for Wreck the Cat, he showed off the smashed up Hellcat that P from Quality Control gifted him. You can tell by how messed up the car is that JIMM is lucky to be alive. He made it out of
Damn, that V is messed up, bro. They messed up that V. Wow.
Every situation's back to back. What's really confusing about everything is that JIMM isn't known for getting into shootouts or dissing ops like a drill rapper. He's caught a few charges in the past, but it looks like they were all for nonviolent crime. He even said he doesn't really have ops in the street like that, and he never felt like he needed to move away from his hometown after he started popping off. That's why a lot of people think it's all connected to Blue Cheese and Jaron Smith. It's not clear if Smith had any affiliations or not, but some people think that JIMM getting shot was clearly get back for his death. There's also a wild rumor going around that Cheese is the one behind the drive-by on JIMM, because it turns out that this ain't the first time one of his artists had been shot. Cheese used to manage a Texas rapper named BTV Savage. Savage made headlines back in March for telling DJ Vlad all about the time he killed a dude who broke into his apartment. The dude he killed was a local rapper who tried to rob him, and Savage clowned him like crazy during the interview. Unfortunately, just a week later, Savage was caught in the street and murdered by 2 shooters. The cops booked one dude for the shooting back in April, but now there's been a crazy twist in the story. Savage was from San Antonio, but he was renting a crib in Houston, and that's where he got killed. His mom said the family of the dude he killed had been threatening him on social media, and Savage planned on meeting her in Vegas to get away from the drama. But before he could make it out of Texas, someone found him in Houston and brutally murdered him. At first, it looked like he was probably just the other dude's family getting revenge, but the situation might be more complicated than that. Later, his mom hopped on social media and accused Cheese of leaking his location, and that's why Savage got killed. It's not clear if Cheese really had anything to do with it, but some people are linking that situation to what's happening with SCY JIMM. Cheese allegedly killed Jim's homie, Jared Smith, and rumors say he wanted to take Jim out of the picture so he couldn't testify against him. There's no concrete evidence out there right now, and it's all just rumor, but news could break any day. There's no telling what'll happen next, though, so tap in for updates while the story develops.
Never listened to his music, but if y'all have, what is your favorite song of him? What song do y'all like of him? And recommend me a song of him. You know, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the vibes. So we're just checking out you are.